Good morning, everybody. Yep, I'm back up here on our cottage porch, and I'm sitting out here a day early. I'll be posting this on Friday morning, but I'm here a day early because come tomorrow morning, it is supposed to be pretty nasty. Rain, snow, wind picking up. Later on in the day into Saturday, there's supposed to be lake effect snows, and we're right on the edge of that where we're at. We get most of our snow off of Lake Ontario, but if it comes off of Erie, look out. So I thought I would bask in the sunshine yet today and go over something that I don't think I've really touched on before, but it's kind of important to know, and that is how the resurrection is treated in the Gospel of Mark. I'm just going to go over it briefly because it figures into our lesson from the first chapter of Mark, and that'll be part of my sermon for Sunday. But this is how Mark ends. It ends with verse 8. So they went out and fled from the tomb, meaning the women, for terror and amazement had seized them, and they said nothing to anyone, for they were afraid. And it just kind of ends there. No resurrection appearance of Jesus, just the angel. Actually, it's a young man dressed in a white robe, so we're just assuming it's an angel who speaks to them. But you might say, wait a minute, my Bible has an ending in there, and it talks about all kind of cool stuff. Oh, yeah. See, there's like 20,000 endings to the Gospel of Mark. Well, not that many. There's one, there's two, three, four, five. Oh, there's a bunch. There's a bunch. And why is that? Well, most scholars now, and this is pretty well accepted throughout our Christian ranks, that the original Gospel of Mark ended right there at verse 8. And it is kind of an abrupt ending. Now, there's some different things have been thrown out there at us, like, well, maybe our manuscripts got torn off there, or we just lost that ending. Hey, anything's possible. But if you look at the beauty of the way Mark was written, I think that is where it ended. And I'm going to kind of focus in on that because what that young man, the angel, had told the women was, he said to go meet him in Galilee. Don't you remember that? He told you, go to Galilee, and there you will see him. Well, what happened in Galilee? Well, what happened in Galilee was the very fact that that's where Jesus performed his miracles. And amongst many of those miracles were healings in which, he took people by the hand and raised them up. That's the language of resurrection. That's you're going to find through the other Gospels. What that angel was saying is he is raised up. Go back to where he did all his other raising of people up. And there you will find him. So it's a masterpiece of literature, the way Mark puts this together. Well, what I wanted to get at is there are all these other different endings, one that we're somewhat familiar with, and for the most part, most people who really dive deep into the Bible and study the language and the way it's put together say this is definitely an addition that was put on much later. But you'll see how it says that later he appeared to the 11 themselves. They're sitting at the table, and he kind of yells at them because of their unfaithfulness and all this stuff. And then he says, now, go into the world and proclaim the good news to the whole creation. The one who believes and is baptized will be saved, but the one who does not believe will be condemned. And these signs will accompany them. Those who believe, by using my name, they will cast out demons. They will speak in new tongues. They will pick up snakes in their hands. And if they drink any deadly thing, it will not hurt them. They will lay their hands on the sick, and they will recover. So you have that. And then there's another addition that adds the ascension of Jesus onto that. But there's yet another ending that's even stranger. And it goes like this. And they excused themselves, saying, "This age of lawlessness and unbelief is under Satan, who does not allow the truth and power of God to prevail over the unclean things of the spirits. Therefore reveal your righteousness now." Thus they spoke to Christ. And Christ replied to them, "The term of years of Satan's power has been fulfilled, but other terrible things draw near. And for those who have sinned, I was handed over to death, that they may return to the truth and sin no more, that they may inherit the spiritual and imperishable glory of righteousness that is in heaven." Now, I mean, there's a lot of stuff jam-packed in there. It's a lot of what they call Christological emphasis, which means what is your theology of who Jesus the Christ is, not Jesus the human being, but Jesus the Christ. And that's put in there. And definitely, most definitely, it was added way, way later than the Gospel of Mark was written, because the Greek is just totally different altogether, the construction, everything. So there were evidently some early monks of the church, early Christian editors who said, "Boy, we can't stand this gospel ending at verse 8. We got to add some stuff." And they added these things in. And that's pretty much accepted by the vast, vast, vast majority of Christian scholars across all different denominations. But it's just an interesting thing how even that was added on. And if you have a really good study Bible, they might have that at the very end, like mine does. Kind of puts all these different endings to Mark in there, just to show that, people weren't comfortable not having the disciples see a risen Jesus. So we got to write it in. No, you don't, because it's in there. Mark, in his wonderful way of putting his gospel together, put it in there by saying, "Hey, you don't see him here. You're going to go see him where he did his work, where you need to be doing your work amongst the people. So go back to Galilee. There you will see him." Well, it is a grand and glorious day, and I hope that you got out to enjoy the sunshine, if the sun is shining where you're at. And if it still is shining, get out there before all the snow comes, because it's on its way. And then back into the deep freeze again next week. But for now, I'm going to soak up all the sun I can, and I hope you do too. God's blessings be with you, and we'll see you later.